Hey there, thanks for clicking on this video. So I was just in my clinic the other day and a patient, really sweet woman, probably in her late 60s. She is retired, loves her garden. She looked at me and said something I hear all the time. She said, "Doc, I feel like I have to buy all these expensive supplements just to stay healthy. The ginseng, the fancy mushrooms, the powders from that health food store downtown, it is costing me a fortune." And you know what? I get it. I completely understand that feeling. We are surrounded every single day by ads telling us that the secret to good health is buying something expensive, something rare, something from a faraway place. But here is the truth that I have learned both as a family physician and just as a human being trying to take care of my own body. Real, lasting, meaningful health change almost never starts in a supplement bottle. It starts right there on your kitchen table, on your breakfast plate, in your lunch bowl that you pack for work, in the dinner you make for your family on a random Tuesday night. So today I want to talk with you about a tiny little bean. It is shaped kind of like a bird's beak. It is humble. It is cheap. You can buy a whole bag of it at Walmart for less than a cup of gas station coffee. I'm talking about the chickpea. Now, I know it doesn't sound exciting. It doesn't come with a fancy marketing campaign. There is no celebrity endorsing it on Instagram, but this little bean, this unassuming beige, lumpy little bean, when you prepare it the right way, it can become a quiet, powerful, behind the scenes supporter for your blood vessels, your blood sugar, your gut, and even your bones. And that is not me being dramatic. That is just what the evidence shows. So let me break down why chickpeas are so good for you, especially as you get into your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. Chickpeas are packed with three things that our bodies really, really need. First, dietary fiber, and not just one kind of fiber. They have both soluble and insoluble fiber. That is the kind that keeps your digestion moving like it is supposed to. It helps prevent constipation. It helps feed the good bacteria in your gut. Second, plant-based protein. This is so important as we age. We naturally lose muscle mass every year after about age 30. That is called sarcopenia. Eating enough protein, including plant protein from chickpeas, helps slow that down. Plus, protein gives you that nice, comfortable, steady feeling of fullness. You know, that feeling where you finish a meal and you're satisfied but not stuffed. That is protein doing its job. Third, a low glycemic index. That is just a fancy way of saying that chickpeas don't spike your blood sugar the way white rice, white bread, pancakes, or a blueberry muffin from Starbucks will. Instead of a sugar rush and then a crash, chickpeas give you a slow, steady, gentle release of energy. That is why some people have nicknamed chickpeas the long and lean bean. And honestly, that nickname isn't crazy. It is not magic, but it is not crazy. And please, please hear me on this. Even the healthiest food in the world can become a problem if you eat it the wrong way. I see this in my clinic all the time. All the time, a patient hears that chickpeas are good for them, so they go to Costco or Sam's Club and buy a giant 5-pound bag, and then they start eating a huge bowl of chickpeas every single night. Or, and this is a big one, they start buying those roasted, crunchy, flavored chickpea snacks from the chip aisle at the grocery store, thinking they're making a healthy choice. And then they come to my office confused. Sometimes they're even frustrated. They say, "Doc, I don't understand. I'm eating chickpeas, like you said, but my stomach is so bloated. I have gas so bad I can't even sit comfortably. What is going on?" And I have to gently explain that they're making some very common mistakes. Here is the deal. If you don't soak dry chickpeas long enough before cooking them, if you don't cook them until they're actually soft and creamy, if you eat way too much, way too fast, or if you eat those heavily processed, high sodium, high oil, high sugar chickpea snacks, then that healthy choice can turn into a real problem for your digestive system. And here is why that matters even more as we get older. As we age, our digestion naturally slows down. That is just a fact. Our stomachs don't empty as quickly. Our intestines don't move things along as fast. Our kidneys, which filter our blood, aren't as strong as they were when we were 25. That is not a failure. That is not something to be ashamed of. That is just life. That is just being human, and eating chickpeas the wrong way, hard, dry, undercooked, in huge portions, can easily lead to painful bloating, gas, cramping, diarrhea, or constipation. It can make you feel worse, not better. And this is really, really important. So I want you to listen closely. If you have known kidney problems, or if you have gout, or if you have high uric acid, you need to be extra, extra careful with chickpeas. Chickpeas are a good food. I'm not saying don't eat them, but they are not for everyone in unlimited amounts, and they are definitely not a medicine. Let me say that again because it is so important. Chickpeas are food. They are not medicine. They cannot replace the medications that your doctor has prescribed for you, for your blood pressure, for your diabetes, for your cholesterol, for anything. I love chickpeas. I have a bag of dry chickpeas in my own pantry right now. I cook them for my own family, but I would never ever tell one of my patients to stop taking their blood pressure medicine and just eat more chickpeas instead. That would be irresponsible. That would be bad medicine. So please stay with me through this entire video, because if you miss the part about the 3 specific groups of people who should not eat chickpeas freely, or the 4 common mistakes that people make over and over, you might end up making your gut and your kidneys more tired instead of helping them. And before we go any further, if you're finding this helpful, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. I make these videos to give you honest, science-backed, no hype health advice. There's no magic here, just real information. Also, I really want to know, are you getting value from this video? Are you learning something you can actually use? If yes, please drop the number 1 in the comments below. If not, drop a 0. I actually read the comments. They help me make better videos for you. All right, let's really dig into this. Let's get specific. So why is this little bean sometimes called the long and lean bean? Is it actually magic? No, let me be very clear. There is no magic here. There are no ancient secrets. There is no mysterious healing power. Most of the time, when you hear someone say a food is magic or a superfood, you should be skeptical. I'm skeptical, you should be too. What makes chickpeas good is that they are balanced. They are nutritionally balanced in a way that works well for the human body, especially as we get older. Let me break it down into 3 simple points. This is the kind of thing I draw on a napkin or a piece of scratch paper for my patients in the exam room. Point number 1, high fiber. Fiber is like a gentle exercise for your intestines. It adds bulk to your stool. It helps keep things moving on a regular schedule. For an older adult who struggles with constipation, who feels stuck or only has a bowel movement every 2 or 3 days, that is a big deal. It is a quality of life issue. Point number 2, plant protein. As I mentioned earlier, we lose muscle as we age. That is just biology, but we can slow that down by eating enough protein and doing some strength training. Chickpeas give you a nice source of plant protein without the saturated fat that comes with a lot of red meat, and protein helps you feel full. Have you ever eaten a meal that was mostly just white rice or white pasta and then you were hungry again an hour later? That is because you didn't get enough protein or fiber. Chickpeas solve that problem. Point number 3, low glycemic index. Again, that just means it doesn't spike your blood sugar. Instead of a sharp, fast rise in your blood sugar followed by a sharp crash, which makes you tired, hungry, and cranky. Chickpeas give you a long, slow, steady release of energy, like a log burning in a fireplace instead of a piece of newspaper burning up in 5 seconds. That is why you see chickpeas in so many healthy recipes: Mediterranean salads, hearty vegetable soups, brown rice bowls, hummus. Of course, they're not exciting, they're not glamorous, but they are reliable. However, and this is where so many people go completely off the rails, these benefits only apply when you eat chickpeas the right way. For a young, active person with a strong, resilient digestive system, a big bowl of chickpeas might be just fine. That person's stomach and intestines can handle a lot of fiber and a lot of plant protein without any trouble. But for someone whose digestion has slowed down with age, someone who already struggles with gas or bloating, someone who takes medications that affect their digestion, eating too many chickpeas too fast without cooking them properly is like inviting trouble to dinner. Trouble shows up and it brings friends. Let me give you some examples. If you eat a huge portion all at once, say a full 2 cups of chickpeas, your gut will produce a lot of gas, and that gas has to go somewhere. It will bloat your belly. It will make you uncomfortable. You might burp. You might pass gas. You might feel like you swallowed a balloon. If you don't cook your chickpeas until they're truly completely soft, if they're still a little bit firm, a little bit al dente, then your stomach has to work way too hard to break them down. Think of it like this. Your stomach is a muscle. It churns and grinds food if you give it hard. Dense, undercooked beans, it has to work overtime. That can lead to pain and indigestion. And if you replace all of your rice or all of your potatoes with chickpeas, if you eat nothing but chickpeas for every meal, you might end up with nutritional imbalances. You need variety. No single food has everything your body needs. So here is the mindset shift that I want you to make. Write this down if you need to. Eating right does not mean eating as much as possible. It does not mean eating the maximum amount of the healthiest foods. Eating right means eating just enough. It means eating the right amount consistently, gently, over a long period of time. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Think of your body like a car that you've had for many years. Let's say it is a comfortable sedan, a Honda Accord, a Toyota Camry, a car that has served you well for a long time. That car does not run better just because you pour more gasoline into it. If you fill the tank to overflowing, The gas just spills on the ground. That is waste. What matters is using the right type of fuel, the grade that the manufacturer recommends in the right amount at the right time. Chickpeas are a high quality fuel. They are good for your body's engine, but they are not a miracle. They are not a cure. And they are certainly not a replacement for seeing your doctor, getting your labs checked, and taking your prescribed medications. Now let's talk about your heart and your blood vessels, because this is one of the biggest concerns that my patients bring up. I hear it every single day. Doc, I'm worried about my arteries getting clogged. My cholesterol keeps creeping up every year. My doctor wants to put me on a statin, and I'm scared of side effects. My husband just had a stent placed. I don't want that to happen to me. These are real fears, and they are completely understandable. So here is what the science says about chickpeas and your heart. When you eat a reasonable amount of chickpeas, again, reasonable, not an enormous bowl, something really nice happens inside your digestive system. The soluble fiber in chickpeas, that is the type of fiber that dissolves in water to form a gel-like substance, acts like a gentle, patient housekeeper. It moves through your small intestine and your colon, and during that journey, it literally wraps around some of the excess cholesterol in your digestive tract, and then it helps carry that cholesterol out of your body. When you have a bowel movement, some of that cholesterol leaves with the fiber. Let me give you a visual. I use this with my patients all the time. Imagine your bloodstream is like a major highway, let's say the 405 in Los Angeles during rush hour, or the Beltway in DC, or the Kennedy Expressway in Chicago. When you have high levels of LDL cholesterol, that is the bad cholesterol, and other fats circulating in your blood, they can start to stick to the walls of your arteries. Over time, that buildup narrows your arteries. It is like a highway that starts with 4 lanes, but over the years, debris and junk pile up on the sides until you're down to 2 lanes, then 1 lane, then traffic slows to a crawl, then it stops. That is how heart attacks and strokes happen. The blood flow gets blocked. Now, the soluble fiber from chickpeas is not a construction crew. It doesn't come in with bulldozers and clear out your arteries overnight. Nothing does that except medication and sometimes surgical procedures, but the fiber does help prevent more junk from being added to the pile. It is like having a small street sweeper that goes through the highway every day and sweeps up some of the loose debris before it can stick to the walls. That is helpful, that is important, but it is not a cure, and here's where I have to give you a very serious warning. If you hear chickpeas are good for your heart and you start eating massive bowls of chickpeas 3 times a day, or even worse, you start eating those deep fried, heavily salted, flavored chickpea snacks from the snack aisle, you are not helping your heart, you are actually hurting it. Let me tell you why. Those processed chickpea snacks, the ones that come in bags and taste like chips, they are often loaded with sodium, added sugar, and unhealthy fats. One serving of those snacks can have 400, 500, even 600 milligrams of sodium. That is a huge amount for someone with high blood pressure. That much sodium can spike your blood pressure. It can make your heart work harder. It can actually undo any benefit you might get from the fiber. And the added sugar, that is bad for your blood sugar, your weight, and your inflammation levels. So please, please remember this. Just because something is made from beans does not automatically make it a health food. The food industry is very good at marketing. They know that you want to eat healthy, so they take beans, deep fry them, cover them in salt and sugar, put them in a shiny bag, and write good source of plant protein on the front, and you think you're making a healthy choice. But when you flip the bag over and read the nutrition label, the fine print, the truth is right there. The sodium number is high, the sugar number is high, the fat number is high. Don't be fooled. Read the label every time. So what is the best version of chickpeas? The healthiest version. It is simple. Buy them dry, the dry beans in the bulk section or in a 1-pound bag. Soak them yourself. Cook them yourself until they are soft and creamy. That is real food. That is what your grandmother would have recognized. That is what your great-grandmother would have cooked. No marketing, no fancy packaging, just beans and water and time. Because think about it this way, why would you spend time and effort trying to clean up your diet on one hand, and then with the other hand, you're throwing garbage into your body? That doesn't make any sense. That is like washing your car while it is still raining or mopping the floor while your dog is tracking mud through the kitchen. You have to be consistent. You have to be smart. You have to read labels. Now let's talk about blood sugar. I know this is a scary topic for so many people. I have patients who literally flinch when I say the word carbohydrate. They're terrified of rice, terrified of bread, terrified of pasta. Some of them are even scared of fruit. It breaks my heart because they've been told that their blood sugar is too high. or they've been diagnosed with prediabetes, or they have full-blown type 2 diabetes, and they've been told to watch their carbs, but nobody ever explained what that actually means. So they just start cutting out everything that tastes good, and then they come to my office and they say, "Doc, I'm not eating any carbs at all. I'm just eating meat and vegetables and I'm miserable. I miss bread. I miss potatoes. I miss my morning oatmeal." I get it. I really do. So here is the good news about chickpeas. The very good news: chickpeas have a much lower glycemic index than white rice, white bread. Pancakes, waffles, sugary cereal, donuts, pastries, and most other common breakfast foods and side dishes. What does that mean for you in real life? It means that when you eat a reasonable portion of chickpeas, again, reasonable, the fiber and the protein act like a speed bump, a traffic calming device. They slow down how fast the carbohydrates from the chickpeas enter your bloodstream instead of a giant sharp spike in your blood sugar, which goes way up and then crashes down. You get a slow, gentle, steady rise like a small stream instead of a flash flood, like a gentle hill instead of a roller coaster. Let me give you an example that might feel very familiar. Have you ever eaten a big lunch? Let's say you go to a fast food place, you get a sandwich on a white bun, a medium order of fries, and a regular soda. An hour later, what happens? You feel incredibly tired, right? Like you could fall asleep at your desk, your energy just crashes. And then 2 hours after that, you're hungry again. You're raiding the vending machine for a candy bar or a bag of chips. That is the blood sugar spike and crash in action. The white bun, the fries, and the soda all caused a rapid rise in your blood sugar. Your body released a bunch of insulin to bring it down, and then your blood sugar dropped too low. That makes you tired, hungry, and irritable. Now imagine a different lunch: a bowl of chickpea and vegetable soup, maybe a small piece of grilled chicken or some tofu on the side, a big glass of water. You finish that meal, you feel satisfied, not stuffed, just content. Your energy stays steady for the rest of the afternoon. You don't get that 3 o'clock crash. You don't feel the need to go to the vending machine. You just work, or you take care of your kids, or you run your errands, and you feel fine. That is the power of low glycemic, high fiber, high protein foods. That is what chickpeas can do for you. But, and I cannot say this strongly enough, chickpeas still contain carbohydrates. This is so important. Please don't misunderstand me. Low glycemic does not mean no effect on blood sugar. It does not mean zero carbs. It does not mean free food. Chickpeas have carbs. They will raise your blood sugar. They just raise it more slowly and more gently than white rice or white bread. So if you have diabetes or prediabetes, portion control is not optional. It is essential. It is the difference between managing your condition and making it worse. You cannot eat a giant bowl of chickpeas, 2 cups, 3 cups, and assume that your blood sugar will be fine. It will not be fine. That many carbs will raise your blood sugar. Period. Here is what I tell my patients to do. And I want you to hear this because it is practical, it is real, and it works. Try a small serving of chickpeas, maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of cooked chickpeas, as part of a meal that also has non-starchy vegetables and a source of lean protein. Eat that meal. Then about 2 hours after you finish eating, check your blood sugar with your glucose meter if you have one. See what happens. Write it down. That is your data. That is your personal information about how your body responds to chickpeas. If your blood sugar is in a good range, your doctor can tell you what that range should be, then great. You can eat that amount of chickpeas safely. If your blood sugar is higher than you want it to be, then next time try a smaller portion, 1 tablespoon instead of 2, or eat the chickpeas with more vegetables and less of something else. This is how you learn to manage your own body, not by following a generic rule from the internet, but by testing, observing, and adjusting. And please, 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 please do not stop your diabetes medication because you started eating chickpeas. I have had patients try this. It scares me. They think, oh, I'm eating healthy now. I don't need my metformin anymore. And then a few weeks later, they come into my office with a fasting blood sugar of 200 or 300, and we have to start all over again. Chickpeas are part of a healthy diet. They are not a replacement for insulin. They are not a replacement for metformin. They are not a replacement for any diabetes medication. If you want to reduce your medication, that is a conversation we have together in my office while looking at your blood sugar logs and your A1C results. That is not a decision you make alone in your kitchen. Your doctor prescribed those medications for a reason. They are keeping you safe. They are preventing complications, blindness, kidney failure, nerve damage, amputations. Please, please do not stop them without talking to your doctor first. Let's talk about your gut because honestly, this is where chickpeas can either shine or cause real problems depending entirely on how you eat them. In my practice, I hear complaints about digestion every single day, multiple times a day. Doc, I'm so constipated. I only have a bowel movement every 3 or 4 days. I feel so uncomfortable. My stomach feels like a balloon after I eat. I eat just a little bit and I feel completely full. It is hard to get enough nutrition. I'm tired all the time. I don't sleep well. My doctor says it might be my gut, but I don't understand what that means. These are real complaints from real patients, and they matter. Digestion is not a small thing, it affects everything. Here is what many people don't realize: your gut is not just a food processor, it is not just a tube that food passes through. Your gut is connected to your immune system. About 70 to 80% of your immune cells live in your gut. When your gut is unhealthy, you get sick more often. You catch every cold that goes around. You feel run down. Your gut is connected to your mood. Your gut produces neurotransmitters like serotonin, the same chemical that antidepressants work on. When your gut is unhappy, you feel anxious or depressed. It is not all in your head, it is in your gut too. Your gut is connected to your sleep quality. There is a direct line between your digestive system and your brain. When your gut is inflamed or uncomfortable, you don't sleep well, and when you don't sleep well, everything is harder. So taking care of your gut is not a luxury, it is not vanity. It is a core part of staying healthy as you age. Now, the fiber in chickpeas is like a gourmet meal for the good bacteria that live in your large intestine. We call those good bugs your microbiome or your gut flora. When those good bacteria eat well, when they get plenty of the right kinds of fiber, they thrive, they multiply, they produce helpful compounds called short chain fatty acids that actually reduce inflammation in your body. And one of the things they do is increase the bulk of your stool and gently stimulate the muscles of your intestines to move. That helps you have regular, comfortable bowel movements. When you become regular, when you wake up in the morning, have a cup of coffee or tea, and then have a normal bowel movement without straining, you feel lighter. You feel more comfortable, you feel less worried. It is amazing how much better life is when your gut is working well. Let me give you a visual that I use with my patients. Imagine your gut is a beautiful garden, a garden that you've been tending for many years. The good bacteria in your gut are like the flowers, the vegetables, the healthy plants that you want to grow, the plants that make the garden beautiful and productive. The fiber from chickpeas is like the fertilizer, the compost, the plant food. A little bit of fertilizer applied regularly makes everything bloom. The flowers get brighter, the vegetables grow bigger, the garden looks amazing. But if you take the whole bag of fertilizer, the entire thing, and dump it on one small spot in the garden, you'll burn the plants, you'll damage the soil, the plants will turn brown and die. That is exactly what happens if you eat too many chickpeas too quickly, or if you don't cook them soft enough, or if your gut is already sensitive and you give it a huge dose of fiber all at once. For someone with an already sensitive gut, say someone with irritable bowel syndrome or IBS, or someone who just has a naturally slow, sluggish digestion, too much fiber too fast can cause severe bloating, gas cramping, and abdominal pain. It is miserable. I've had patients come into my office doubled over, clutching their bellies, describing pain that keeps them up at night, and that is not the goal. The goal is to feel better, not worse. So what is the solution? It is simple, but it requires patience. Start very small, and I mean very, very small. If you have a sensitive stomach, if you know that beans or high fiber foods have bothered you in the past, do not, I repeat, do not eat half a cup of chickpeas on your first try. Start with 1 or 2 tablespoons. That is it. That is the size of a small scoop. That is less than a bite of a sandwich. Cook those chickpeas until they are extremely soft. You should be able to squish them easily between your thumb and your finger. They should have no resistance at all, like mashed potatoes. Chew each bite thoroughly. Don't swallow big chunks. Chew until the chickpeas are almost liquid in your mouth. Drink some warm water with your meal. Warm water helps digestion. Cold water is fine, but warm is better. Eat your chickpeas alongside well-cooked vegetables, not raw vegetables, which are harder to digest, and a small amount of lean protein or healthy fat. Then pay attention to your body. How do you feel an hour later, 2 hours later? The next morning, do you have gas, bloating, discomfort, or do you feel fine? If you feel fine, then next time, try a slightly larger portion, 3 tablespoons instead of 2. And again, pay attention. If you feel bad, then you're either eating too much, or your chickpeas aren't cooked soft enough, or your gut just doesn't tolerate chickpeas well. That is okay. There are plenty of other healthy foods. Give your gut time to adapt. It might take a week or two of eating small amounts before your gut bacteria adjusts and the bloating goes away. That is normal. That is just the process. But if you're still miserable after 2 weeks, chickpeas might not be for you. And that is fine. You don't have to eat chickpeas to be healthy. Let me tell you about a real patient. I'll change her name for privacy. Let's call her Susan. Susan is 68 years old. She is retired. She used to work as an administrative assistant at a law firm. She lives in a little house in the suburbs. She loves her grandchildren, her garden, and her book club. Susan came to see me in my office a while back. She looked exhausted. She had dark circles under her eyes. She sat down in the chair across from my desk and let out a big sigh. She said, "Doctor, I am so frustrated. My neighbor told me that chickpeas are good for blood sugar and cholesterol. She said she eats them every day and feels great, so I went to the grocery store and bought a big bag. Every morning I cook a full bowl of chickpeas and eat them for breakfast. I was so proud of myself for eating healthy." Then she leaned forward and said, "But the first 2 days were fine. I felt full and happy. But by the fourth day, my stomach was rock hard. I had so much gas, I was burping constantly. And at night, I couldn't sleep because my belly was so bloated and uncomfortable. My husband said I was moaning in my sleep." She looked at me with such disappointment. She said, "I guess my body just hates chickpeas. I give up. They're not for me." Well, I asked her a few simple questions, the same questions I'm going to ask you, Susan. How long did you soak the dry chickpeas before cooking? She looked at me blankly. Soak. You have to soak them. I just took them out of the bag and put them in a pot with water. Okay, that was problem number one. How long did you cook them? She said about an hour, maybe a little less. How soft were they? Could you mash one with a fork easily? She thought about it. No, they were a little firm. I like them with a little bite, al dente. Problem number two, and how much did you eat? How many chickpeas in a bowl? She held up her hands to show me the size of her bowl. It was a big cereal bowl, probably 2 cups of cooked chickpeas. Problem number three. So here was Susan, a 68-year-old woman with normal age-related slowing of her digestion. She did not soak her chickpeas at all. She cooked them for only an hour, so they were still hard in the center, and she ate 2 full cups of them every morning for breakfast. Of course, she was miserable. Her gut was screaming for mercy. It wasn't that chickpeas were bad for her, it was that she was eating them in the worst possible way. So I gave Susan a new plan, a simple plan. I said, "Susan, let's try this instead. Soak your dry chickpeas overnight, at least 8 to 12 hours, put them in a big bowl, cover them with plenty of water, and put the bowl in the refrigerator so they don't spoil. The next morning, drain the water, rinse the chickpeas. Well, put them in a slow cooker or an instant pot with fresh water. Cook them until they are so soft that you can mash one easily with the back of a spoon. No al dente, no bite. Soft, then when you're ready to eat, start with just 2 tablespoons of chickpeas, not a bowl, 2 tablespoons. Eat them with some cooked vegetables like steamed broccoli or sauteed spinach, and a little drizzle of olive oil or a sprinkle of lemon juice, and chew very, very slowly. Don't rush. Susan looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language, but she agreed to try. 2 weeks later, she came back for a follow-up appointment, and let me tell you, the difference was night and day. She walked into my office with energy. She was smiling. She sat down and said, "Doctor, it worked. I can't believe it. The same chickpeas, the same me, but I feel completely different. My stomach feels light, no bloating, no gas. I actually enjoy my breakfast now. I mix a couple of spoonfuls of chickpeas into my eggs or my vegetable hash. It is delicious, and my energy is better too. That is the power of cooking food properly and eating it in the right portion. Same food, same person, different method, entirely different result." So now, let me walk you through the 4 most common mistakes I see my patients make with chickpeas. Please check if you are making any of these. Mistake number 1, not soaking long enough, not cooking soft enough. This is the most common mistake by far. People think they can just boil dry chickpeas for an hour and be done. But chickpeas are much harder than other beans like black beans or pinto beans. They are dense, they are tough. If you don't soak them for at least 8 hours, the center of the bean will remain hard and dry even after cooking. That hard center is like tiny little rocks going through your digestive system. For an older adult with slower digestion, those hard bean centers will scratch and irritate your gut. You will get gas, you will get pain, you might get diarrhea or constipation. The fix, soak your dry chickpeas for 8 to 12 hours. Overnight is perfect. If it is summertime or your kitchen is warm, put the bowl in the refrigerator so the beans don't ferment or grow bacteria. After soaking, drain the water and rinse the beans thoroughly. Then cook them in plenty of fresh water. Use a pressure cooker like an Instant Pot. That is fastest, or a slow cooker or a regular pot on the stove for a long, slow simmer. Cook until you can mash a bean easily with the back of a spoon. The texture should be creamy, not crunchy. Do not go for al dente. Al dente is for pasta. Al dente is not for older guts. Mistake number 2, thinking more is better. This is so common. A patient hears that a food is healthy and they immediately think that eating more of it is healthier. That is not how nutrition works. Your body has limits. Your digestive system can only handle so much fiber at one time. If you exceed that limit, your body will let you know with bloating, gas, pain, and discomfort. The fix, a reasonable amount of chickpeas for an older adult, say someone in their 60s or 70s or 80s, is about 30 to 50 grams of dry chickpeas per day. That translates to roughly 1 to 2 tablespoons of cooked chickpeas when you are first starting out, not a bowl, not a cup, a couple of spoonfuls. You can slowly increase the portion over several weeks if your gut tolerates it well, but pay close attention to how your stomach feels. If you start to bloat or feel gassy, you've eaten too much, back off to a smaller portion. Mistake number 3, storing them wrong in a humid kitchen. This one is less obvious, but it is important. If you live in a humid part of the United States, and that includes a lot of places, Florida, the Gulf Coast, Texas, Louisiana, the Carolinas, Georgia, even parts of the Midwest in the summer, dry beans can absorb moisture from the air. When beans get damp, they can grow mold. Some molds produce toxins called aflatoxins. Aflatoxins are bad for your liver. They can cause liver damage over time. You cannot see or taste all aflatoxins, so you might not know they are there. The fix: store your dry chickpeas in an airtight container, a glass jar with a tight lid, a plastic container with a good seal. Keep the container in a cool, dark, dry cupboard. Not under the kitchen sink, that is too damp. Not next to the stove or the oven, that is too hot. Just a regular cupboard. If you open your bag of chickpeas and they smell musty, or they look discolored, or they feel sticky or clumped together, throw them away immediately. Do not try to wash them or cook the mold away. It is not worth saving $2 to risk your liver health. Mistake number 4, thinking that processed chickpea snacks are health food. This mistake drives me absolutely crazy, and it is not your fault. The food industry spends billions of dollars on marketing to make you think their products are healthy. You go to the grocery store, you walk down the snack aisle, and you see roasted chickpeas in a shiny bag. They come in flavors like sea salt, barbecue, sriracha, ranch. They're crunchy, they're convenient, they're delicious, and the front of the bag says good source of plant protein or gluten-free or non-GMO. So you think, great, I can have a healthy snack, and then you eat half the bag. The fix: flip the bag over, read the nutrition label. Look at the serving size, look at the sodium, look at the added sugar, look at the fat. I have seen healthy roasted chickpea snacks with 400, 500, even 600 milligrams of sodium per serving. That is a huge amount of salt. For someone with high blood pressure, that is dangerous. I have seen them with 6 or 8 or 10 grams of added sugar per serving. That is like eating a small candy bar. I have seen them fried in palm oil or sunflower oil or coconut oil, not the worst oils, but still adding calories and fat that you don't need. The healthiest version of a chickpea is the one you cook yourself from dry. The second healthiest version is a can of no salt added or low sodium chickpeas that you rinse thoroughly before eating. The least healthy version is the processed, flavored, crunchy snack in a bag. Don't be fooled by marketing. Real food doesn't need a marketing campaign. Real food is simple. Real food is humble. Real food is a dry bean that you soak and cook yourself. Okay, so now that you know what not to do, let's talk about what you should do. Here are 5 golden rules for eating chickpeas the right way. This is the part I want you to remember. Golden rule number 1, soak for 8 to 12 hours. Always, no exceptions, no shortcuts. Overnight is easiest. Put the dry chickpeas in a bowl, cover them with plenty of water, and put the bowl in the refrigerator in the morning. Drain the water and rinse the beans. That is it. That is the first step to making chickpeas digestible. Golden rule number 2, cook until extremely soft. Do not be impatient. Do not rush. Cook your chickpeas until you can mash one easily with a fork or the back of a spoon. The texture should be creamy, like a soft potato or a well-cooked bean dip. If you have to chew more than 2 or 3 times, they are not soft enough. A pressure cooker like an Instant Pot is the fastest method. A slow cooker is the easiest, just set it and forget it. You can also cook them on the stove in a regular pot, but that takes several hours. However you cook them, the goal is the same: soft, 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 golden rule. Number 3, start with a tiny amount and increase slowly. On day 1, eat 1 or 2 tablespoons of cooked chickpeas. That is it. Pay attention to your body. Do you feel bloated, gassy, uncomfortable? If you feel fine, wait a day and then try 3 tablespoons, then 4, then a quarter cup. Increase slowly over weeks, not days. Your gut needs time to adapt. The good bacteria in your colon need time to multiply and learn how to digest all that new fiber. Be patient. There is no race. Golden rule number 4, pair chickpeas with non-starchy vegetables and a little healthy fat. Don't just eat a bowl of plain chickpeas. That is boring, and it is not as nutritious as it could be. Instead, Mix your chickpeas with cooked or roasted vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, bell peppers, zucchini, spinach, kale, or green beans. The vegetables add vitamins, minerals, and more fiber. Add a small amount of healthy fat. A drizzle of olive oil, a few slices of avocado, a sprinkle of toasted sesame seeds, or a spoonful of tahini. Fat helps your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins from the vegetables, and it also makes the meal more satisfying. Golden rule number 5, never. Ever replace your medication with chickpeas. I have to say this again because it is so important. Chickpeas are food. They are not medicine. They are not a replacement for your blood pressure medication, your diabetes medication, your cholesterol medication, or any other prescription. If you are taking medication for a chronic condition, keep taking it exactly as your doctor prescribed. If you want to reduce your medication because you've made lifestyle changes, that is a conversation you have with your doctor in the office. You do not make that decision alone at home. Chickpeas can be part of a healthy lifestyle. They cannot cure disease. They cannot replace medical treatment. Now, let me give you 3 specific combinations that my older patients really love. These are simple, affordable, and easy to make. Combination 1, chickpeas with black sesame. This is a great combination for people who are worried about bone health. And if you are a woman over 50, bone health should definitely be on your radar. Osteoporosis, weak, brittle bones is a real risk. Here's what you do. Take your soft cooked chickpeas and mash them into a rough paste. You can use a fork or a potato masher. Then mix in a small amount of roasted black sesame powder. You can find black sesame seeds at many grocery stores or online. Toast them lightly in a dry pan, then grind them into a powder. Add very little sugar, ideally no sugar at all. The natural nutty flavor of the sesame is enough. Eat a couple of spoonfuls of this paste a few times a week. This is not a bone drug. It will not reverse osteoporosis, but it is a pleasant way to get some plant-based calcium, magnesium, and healthy fats. And it tastes good. Combination 2, chickpeas with broccoli or spinach. This is for my patients who know they need to eat more green vegetables but find them boring or hard to prepare. Steam or lightly saute some broccoli florets or fresh spinach until they are tender but not mushy. Mix in your soft, cooked chickpeas, add a squeeze of fresh lemon juice and a tiny pinch of salt, just a pinch, a drizzle of olive oil if you like. Eat this as a warm side dish with your dinner or as a light lunch on its own. The fiber from the beans and the greens works together to keep you regular. The vitamin C from the lemon juice and the broccoli helps your body absorb the iron from the chickpeas. Combination 3, chickpeas with plain unsweetened Greek yogurt. This is a gut health powerhouse. Seriously, this is one of the best combinations I know for supporting a healthy digestive system. Here is why. Chickpeas are rich in prebiotic fiber. Prebiotic fiber is food for the good bacteria in your gut. It is like fertilizer for your garden plane. Unsweetened Greek yogurt is rich in probiotics. Probiotics are the actual live good bacteria themselves. When you eat prebiotics and probiotics together, that is sometimes called a symbiotic combination. You get a double benefit. You add good bacteria to your gut and you feed them at the same time. Here is how to do it. Take 1 or 2 tablespoons of your soft mashed chickpeas. Mix them into a half cup of plain unsweetened Greek yogurt. Do not use flavored yogurt. Those are loaded with sugar. If you want sweetness, add a few fresh berries or a sprinkle of cinnamon. Eat this as a snack or as part of your breakfast. Your gut will thank you. Now, I have to give you a serious warning. I'm saying this as your doctor, not as a YouTube personality. There are 3 groups of people who need to be extra careful with chickpeas. If you fall into any of these categories, please talk to your own doctor before adding chickpeas to your regular diet. Do not just take my word for it. Every body is different. Group 1, people with chronic kidney disease, that is CKD. If your kidneys are not working well, even mild to moderate kidney disease, chickpeas can be a problem. Why? 2 reasons. First, chickpeas contain a significant amount of plant protein. When your kidneys are weak, they have trouble filtering out the waste products that come from digesting protein. Eating too much protein, even plant protein, can put extra strain on your kidneys and make your lab work worse. Second, chickpeas contain potassium. Potassium is an essential mineral. Your body needs it. But if your kidneys are weak, they may not be able to remove excess potassium from your blood. Too much potassium can cause dangerous heart rhythm problems. So if you have kidney disease, if your doctor has told you to watch your protein or your potassium, please do not start eating a lot of chickpeas without talking to your nephrologist or your primary care doctor first. Group 2, people who get bloated very easily or have a diagnosis like irritable bowel syndrome. which is IBS. If you have a sensitive gut, if beans, lentils, or high fiber foods have bothered you in the past, you may still be able to eat chickpeas. But you have to be careful, start with an extremely small amount. I mean, tiny 1 teaspoon of well-cooked mashed chickpeas. Eat them with other low gas foods like rice, carrots, or zucchini. Chew very, very slowly. If you still get painful bloating or gas after several tries, chickpeas might just not be for you. And that is okay. There are plenty of other healthy foods. You don't have to eat chickpeas to be healthy. Group 3. People with gout or high uric acid, chickpeas contain moderate levels of purines. Purines are natural substances found in many foods. When your body breaks down purines, it produces uric acid. If you have gout, which is a form of arthritis caused by uric acid crystals forming in your joints, eating foods that are high or even moderate in purines can trigger a painful flare-up if your uric acid is not well controlled. If you've had a gout attack in the past few months, I would recommend avoiding chickpeas for now. If your uric acid is well controlled with medication and your last blood test showed normal levels, you might be able to eat small amounts of chickpeas, but start very small. 1 tablespoon and pay attention to your joints over the next day or two. And if you are in the middle of an acute gout attack, your big toe or your knee or your ankle is red, hot, swollen, and exquisitely painful, do not eat chickpeas at all. Focus on hydration, anti-inflammatory medications as prescribed by your doctor, and resting the affected joint, please. Talk to your rheumatologist or your primary care doctor before making chickpeas a regular part of your diet. If you have gout, let me give you a summary. 6 key takeaways from today's video. These are the things I want you to actually remember and use. 1, chickpeas are a good, healthy food, but they are not a miracle cure. They are not a drug. They are not a replacement for seeing your doctor or taking your prescribed medications. 2, when eaten correctly, soaked overnight, cooked until extremely soft, started in small amounts, chickpeas can genuinely support your blood vessels, your blood sugar, and your gut. They are helpers, not healers. 3, always soak dry chickpeas for 8 to 12 hours before cooking. This is not optional. It is essential for good digestion. 4, cook them until they are extremely soft, mashable with a fork or a spoon, and start with just 1 or 2 tablespoons per meal. Increase slowly over weeks, not days. 5, stay away from processed, roasted, flavored chickpea snacks in bags. Those are often high in sodium, added sugar, and unhealthy oils. They are not health foods. Read the label always. 6, if you have kidney disease, a very sensitive gut like IBS, or gout with high uric acid, please check with your personal doctor before making chickpeas a regular part of your diet. Here is what I really want you to walk away with. Real wellness is not about finding a single magical food. It is not about buying expensive powders or following some influencer's 30-day detox. Real wellness is boring. Real wellness is slow. Real wellness is about small, consistent, correct choices made day after day after day. It is about making one less mistake today than you made yesterday. It is about adding one better choice, just one, and then another, and then another. A bowl of soft, perfectly cooked, reasonably portioned chickpeas will not change your life overnight. It will not lower your cholesterol by 50 points in a week. It will not cure your diabetes. But if you eat them the right way, consistently over months and years, they might help your body feel just a little bit lighter, a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more energetic tomorrow than you feel today.